Good evening and welcome to the smoking section. My name is Emily Ouija. I'll be your host, and my guest again tonight is Jeff Yalanesian, CEO of Brennan Smoke Shops, which has 7 locations. Is that correct? On the South Coast and South Shore of Massachusetts. Welcome, Jeff. It's great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me again, you guys.
Yeah, it's
a good time.
It's great to have you back because I know the last time you were on was about a month ago, I think, a little more maybe. And we discussed at that time your ballot initiative, which is very exciting because now it's been certified.
It's been approved by the Attorney General.
It's been approved by the Attorney General.
We're campaigning now and trying to get signatures. It's a lot of work. It's
great.
I've learned all these new words: ominous, monumental.
Right. I'm sure a lot of legalese is involved in these state ballot initiatives. Actually, before we talk about it more, can you just explain for our viewers exactly what is on the ballot initiative that you had certified?
Well, the inspiration was I forget what year it was. The alcohol, Deval Patrick made alcohol sales taxable. And
that was 2011, I believe, maybe?
Okay,
was it?
2011.
2010 might be when they actually made it taxable.
Then 2012, we had the ballot question, and it was gone. And then last year, 2014, we had the gas index that also got voted down. Mm-hmm. So we felt, I mean, particularly with the alcohol, we felt as though that the voters in Massachusetts set a precedent. So we lobbied. We have a bill.
Well, so just to back up for a second, so the precedent that we're setting with the alcohol, it was that a sales tax was actually introduced to alcohol. Is that correct?
It's a 6.25% sales tax.
Okay. Yeah.
They wanted to repeal it because it was a tax on a tax.
Right. Right.
Tobacco consumers have been paying taxes upon taxes for over 20 years.
For 20 years.
Over 20 years.
So the sales tax on tobacco has existed for 20 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
Over 20 years.
Wow. Yep.
So.
And in addition to that, of course, tobacco consumers also pay, is it a federal excise tax?
Federal excise tax. Now, the Fed has different things. They have chew tax, pipe tobacco tax, and they have cigarette tobacco tax, and they have cigarette tax, and then they have cigar tax. Massachusetts has unofficially titled cigarette excise tax bill, and then all the tax falls in underneath that 64 seats. So it's the differences are what we call OTP, other tobacco products. Mm-hmm. That's loose rolling tobacco, pipe tobacco, cigars, premium and domestic all fall into the other tobacco product category. Wow. Then there's the chew category in Mass, which is 90% over presumptive cost.
Wow.
And then there's the cigarette excise tax, which is $3.51 to the state.
Wow. Yeah.
The federal excise.
That is extremely high, and that's what the second highest in the country is. That correct? I think
sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's extremely high. At any rate,
look at the how much it costs, and it's pretty high.
Right.
Right. My thing is, my neighbor is a Vietnam War veteran. He smokes. He's over 70 years old. He's a pack a day, Camel non-filters. Mm-hmm. He's not going to quit. He's not interested in quitting.
Right.
Okay, so he wants to smoke. But is it right for me as his neighbor to stand? Is it American of me to stand by the wayside while my government tax him oppressively?
Right.
That's
a great point.
It's really not. They know he's not going to quit. They really want his money.
Right. They just really want his money because we hear that often referenced as an ostensible reason why they call them sin taxes, which is interesting because really tobacco is the only substance that has a sales tax, right? I mean, and so really it's the only sin tax in Massachusetts.
Well, no, there's excise tax on alcohol.
There is excise. Okay.
There's excise.
Yeah, okay.
And that was their whole thing is the sales tax was a tax on a tax. Now,
right.
So talk about just cigars, for instance. They have a 40-cent flat tax, federal tax. Mm-hmm. Then the state excise tax is 40% on top of the cost, over the cost, and that includes the 40 cent per cigar. So that tax on a tax, the state excise on top of the federal excise tax, it yields an extra 16 cents.
Wow.
That's 40% of the 40 cents,
right.
Another 16 cents. When it comes to the counter, They're sales taxing the 40% over cost. They're sales taxing the 40 cents.
Wow.
But then they're sales taxing the tax that's on a tax, the extra 16 cents.
That, I mean, when you explain it that way,
it doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's only 16 cents, and the 6.25% is another penny.
Right.
But that's 17 cents that I believe that our government or our state government is stealing from taxpayers in Massachusetts.
And it also seems to me like a really good place to start. I mean, it seems like we need to start somewhere. We're paying, as tobacco consumers, we're paying so much on top of the cost of a pack of cigarettes or on a cigar or on rolling tobacco. We need to start somewhere to try to right this injustice.
That was my feeling, and I went for it. And it's really... They don't make it easy. You know, we talk about citizens petition initiatives. It's been going on since America was America. But what's been successful is the alcohol sales tax.
Right.
We all thought that was bought and paid for. I talked to some guys that was brought on by Curtis Liquors.
Ah, I see.
And they got all of the alcohol distributors or retailers to get signatures, kind of similar to what I'm trying to do. The problem is, there is a vast majority more beer, wine, and liquor distributors than there are tobacco distributors.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And I can tell you, you know, it's been I'm on my second week of campaigning, and over the past week and a half, I've seen a lot of stores from, you know, I went up to Newburyport. That's where the printer is for the petition initiatives.
Oh,
the
I
state
see.
prints them.
Yep.
So I was up there, as close to New Hampshire border, and I searched smoke shops to start my campaign. The closest smoke shops are all Seabrook, New Hampshire.
Ah, of course, yeah.
The closest smoke shop that I could find was the Red Lion in Salem.
Ah, okay.
So I stopped there and worked my way down the coast, and I stopped at ABC Cigar and Revere, and then I went over to, I came over to see Stephen at Levitt and Pierce.
Levitt and Pierce, yeah.
And I went back to Tufts.
Great.
So I still got to get over to, I still got a lot of work to do, but.
So how many signatures are actually needed to get this initiative onto the ballot in Massachusetts?
100. There should be 100, 200, 500,000.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We only need 65,000 though.
Okay. Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound so bad.
When you think about tobacco consumers in the state of Massachusetts, I mean, they should all be just you know chomping at the bit to sign this thing.
Right.
The difficult part is getting the petitions to places or outlets where the customers can get them in front of them and sign them. Exactly.
And you mentioned, you've touched a little bit on some of the difficulties and, you know, in the unique aspects of this ballot initiative petition is that you have to actually pick up these physical petitions, right, from the state printer. They all have to be original petitions. People can't make copies of them.
No, they can.
Oh, they can.
They have to be.
Okay.
They have to be exact copies. In other words, it has to look like it does coming from the printer.
From the printer. So it can be a photocopy.
Not a photocopy. Yeah. It has to be printed. If anybody wants to collect or gather our signatures or sign for us, they can just go to our website, BrennanSmokeShopMA.com.
Great.
Which is the new thing with the petition initiatives. You can go onto our website, download it.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
And print an exact copy on an 8.5 by 11. And
that's great to hear. I actually didn't realize that was a possibility, so I'm really glad to hear that. So just to repeat, if anyone would like to download a copy, you can go to the Brennan Smoke Shop website and download it there.
Yeah, just Google Brennan Smoke Shop.
That's great.
Bring you to the website.
That's great. And I know that there's some additional provisions to the signature gathering, I should say, right? Can you explain a little bit more about that? The people need to be from only one town on each sheet of the petition.
Each sheet has a space down the bottom to write the town that you're collecting, that you're gathering, and once we gather as many signatures as we can at the end of about mid-November, they go out to the clerk, and the clerk certifies every signature on every petition.
So every signature is checked, basically.
Every signature on every petition, and I think there's 15 of them going around. To go back to the initiative petitions, so people know that the alcohol sales tax was done citizens petition initiative, the gas index.
So that was repealed through a citizens petition.
Yes.
Wow.
The decriminalization of marijuana.
Wow. Yep, that's right. I remember that quite recently.
Medicinal marijuana.
Yep.
And there's, I guess, 4 different versions of 4 different petitions for recreational marijuana.
Oh wow.
That they're gathering for. So it's going to be an interesting vote because I'm not an expert on this, but I kind of feel like if there's two different groups collecting for 4 different versions of recreational marijuana, there could be
a lot of
two
conflict there.
There could be two choices. So what do you what do you want to do here? And I think that over the years, my sentiment is the decriminalization. I think it was like 80% of the vote voted in favor of that, and then it was the medicinal, and it was like 75% of the vote. And there's some staggering statistic that suggests that 75 to 80% of the population today is using that marijuana. So it's very interesting time we're living.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. Well, to touch a little bit more on that, I'm not sure exactly what the figures are on tobacco users in Massachusetts, but I'm sure it's not quite as high a figure as, say, people who drink alcohol recreationally or even close. Maybe even use marijuana. I don't know. What would you tell people as advice to convince people maybe to sign this petition who are non-smokers or who don't use tobacco? Is there any argument that you would use to try to convince people?
Well, it's like I said, I'm a tobacco consumer, but let's say I wasn't. Is it right for me to sit by the wayside while my state government tax any American oppressively? If we didn't let them tax the tax on alcohol and we're not letting them inflate our gas tax, are we going to let them sales tax marijuana when it's legal? I think if they do, it's going to be up for another petition initiative.
It sounds like it, definitely.
Because a tax on a tax is just, in my opinion, I guess I have to say that in my opinion, it's unconstitutional. But I went to American history class in a high school in America, and I was taught, American history, and American history says it's unconstitutional.
Yeah, it sounds that way to me too.
But the question isn't whether or not you think that tobacco should be taxed. The question is, do you think we should have the choice? Do you think we should be able to at least vote on it? And that's all that this petition initiative is going to do, is put it on the 2016 ballot so that we can decide whether or not we should be taxing a tax.
And it seems to me that this could also just be a good way to raise awareness because the tax issue is very confusing to me. And I know I was asking you earlier about, well, what exactly is the state excise tax, the federal excise? I think a lot of people just don't even realize how heavily tobacco consumers are already taxed.
We're realizing that every day, that our customers don't even know that they're paying taxes upon taxes.
Exactly. I mean, they know that the product they're buying is really expensive, but it seems like there's not enough awareness of why that is and where all that is coming from.
The other side of the coin is I've got it from some retailers, and they won't support us because they're afraid that if we repeal the sales tax, they're just going to turn around and raise the excise tax, which is what we thought was going to happen with alcohol.
Oh, okay.
But they never touched it.
Oh, interesting.
But every time the state needs money to do something, run the trains to Fall River, it's always seems to be on the back of tobacco.
That's so true. And it seems to me that this would be a way of sending a message to legislators that, hey, we've had enough as tobacco consumers.
I just need the best thing possible for me that could happen is people go on the website, they download the petition, they get us 3 signatures, and they just mail it to the address on the petition, and if that happens, this thing's going to go to a vote. I mean, we hired an attorney to write the legislation for us so that when it's voted on, that if it was favorable, it would be law. It would be signed into law, and it would be January 1st, 2017. There'd be no more sales tax on tobacco products.
That's great. It seems like it would really be a revolutionary breakthrough moment for tobacco consumers and retailers if this actually does get on the ballot.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Again, it's ominous, momentous. What's the other word?
All those exciting terms.
It really
historic, it seems.
Before we even drafted the initiative petition, we sat down in the Attorney General's office with a couple of the aides, and they said, this is what you got to do. And I said, well, we got to try. I mean, you don't know until you try. And I'm notorious, and I said that before, I'm notorious about not thinking things all the way through before I make decisions. And I say, if I thought about anything, I probably wouldn't own 7 tobacco stores at this point.
Right.
I'd be in some other business, you know. But it's a learning experience. And now recently I was campaigning yesterday, and I was down in I was doing Bristol County, headed towards Middlesex County. I'm learning all the counties now too.
Oh, definitely. That seems to be that's something I'm confused about, just thinking about the different counties and the towns and the cities.
Go look at the counties, yeah. The way it's broken up. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I stopped in a vapor store, and you know, that door is now open to me to campaign to, because recently the Attorney General's new rules and guidelines are classifying electronic cigarettes and vapor products as tobacco products.
Wow. Yep. That's a very important development, it seems, especially in light of this campaign.
Is. Well, in some towns across Massachusetts, I don't know, you know, all of them, some towns have banned flavored tobacco. Right. If that happens in that town, that would encompass e-cigarettes and e-juice.
That's right. I think you were explaining to me a little bit earlier before the show that even flavors of e-juice, such as tobacco flavor, that would actually be considered a flavor.
Yeah, it's flavoring.
Right. Interesting.
The track record of tobacco consumers in the tobacco business is they would just sell blank juice, right, and then the flavoring next to it that you put into it yourself.
I see.
Probably. Yeah. That was what they did when flavored cigarette papers were banned. They put flavored drops next to the papers.
Interesting.
That's another whole fiasco
right.
that the tobacco business went through.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned that you're actually reaching out now to e-cigarette retailers because of this.
Yeah, and if our bill, because it didn't happen in time, our bill doesn't say e-cigarettes, but I would assume it. You know, it says it would be amended to say that. I would assume it, because the summary of our petition initiative says cigarettes, cigars, chewing, smokeless tobacco, and smoking tobacco. It doesn't say anything about e-cigarettes, but it's still a tobacco product, and it was. And it's funny that
so e-cigarettes are now going to be subject to that 6.25 sales tax.
Well, they were anyways.
They were
anyways, just because they're retailed in the state. Now they're going to be subject to tobacco OTP tax.
Wow, yeah.
Because now they're a tobacco product, and if we repealed the sales tax on tobacco products, they would actually get the repeal as well. I just assume that.
That's great. That's a very interesting development.
It's
definitely.
Not. Well, I mean, it's not
great. It's great. It's great to know this information as just because
ahead
of
time.
Yeah.
There's going to be more. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the last time I was here, but we sat through the Public Health Committee hearing up at the State House, and they were talking about changing the legal buying age to 21.
Yep.
Classifying electronic cigarettes and juice as a tobacco product, banning flavored cigars outright, banning flavored tobacco outright, which would, if you like whiskey flavored pipe tobacco, that's out the window.
Yep.
But let me tell you about campaigning.
I'm interested to hear more about campaigning. So you mentioned that you're going around to tobacco retailers in the state.
I go to these tobacco retailers, and I walk in their store and I go, wow, this is like my store. We're all doing the same thing.
Right.
We're all trying to just, make it through the day here and keep our businesses alive. But I can say honestly, the stores that, the cigar stores that just sell cigars, premium cigars, and it's interesting because in my business, the cigar stores, are trying to segregate themselves from the rest of the tobacco business, the rolling tobacco and the cigarettes.
Right.
Well, what I've seen campaigning is the cigar stores, anywhere that sells just cigars, they're really hurting.
Is that right?
Really hurting. Yeah, they're hurting. You can think about in Massachusetts, it's 40-cent federal tax, and then it's 40% over cost. And that makes it like every cigar $10. Now, you can go to New Hampshire, pay 0 cigar tax. You can go now to Rhode Island, pay no more than 50 cents a cigar.
Right.
And you can go to Connecticut and pay no more than 50 cents a cigar. So you've got a hand coming in from Connecticut, a hand coming in from Rhode Island, a hand coming in from New Hampshire, and then the rest is flowing out of the state. The rest of the tax revenue that they're sales taxing is flowing out of the state in mail order. So we always say, I'm going to ask you a question, Em. Why is it so important that we have casinos in the state of Massachusetts? Why is it such a big deal?
I think it has something to do with bringing in revenue. Is that correct?
Because they don't want to send the money to Connecticut and Rhode Island anymore. They don't want to send it to Mohegan and Foxwoods and Twin River.
Right, because most people in Massachusetts, when they want to go gambling, they go to Connecticut.
I go to Twin River because I live on the South Coast. It's 20 minutes away.
Right.
Recently, we went up to Plain Ridge, I think on Sunday night after.
Oh, did you?
After our camping event.
How was that? Did you enjoy it?
I killed it up there.
Ah, great.
I did. I actually won money.
Great. Congratulations.
But the point is, why are we going to make such a big deal about being able to gamble and stop throwing money out the window with casinos, but we're throwing our tobacco tax revenue overboard just because of these public health officials that think they're saving us from ourselves.
Yeah, it's true. And it's interesting because even with casinos, you do start to hear some of that rhetoric of, it's almost, people who are against the casinos coming in because they almost want to save people from their tendencies to gamble. And they talk about lower income people wasting their money on casinos. It seems to me kind of similar.
If I want to gamble, I'm going to go to gamble.
Exactly.
I'm going to play scratch tickets.
Right.
It's like the tobacco companies saying, if you want to quit, call us here. It's like it's like the Mass State Lottery.
Right.
1-800 stop gambling now.
Stop gambling now.
Come on.
I think we have a call, and I think since we're in the temporary studio, am I supposed to just pick up? I'll press speaker.
Right here, This one.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Hi, you're on the smoking section. It's Steve Helfer.
We're enjoying the show a lot.
Oh, great. I'm glad to hear it.
I hope I'm not asking a question that you haven't already answered.
Well, go ahead.
How are you going to inspire business owners really get enthusiastic about this? Because there just is so much, let's say, cynicism about the possibility of getting legislators to respond to the citizenry.
That's a great question.
Well, like I was saying, Stephen, that I get that from retailers that, they're not going to let this happen. And I'm going back to Citizens Petition Initiative. They don't want it to happen. It's like my lobbyist, he's like, Jeff, the Attorney General doesn't want to approve your initiative. And the simple fact of the matter is they had no reason not to.
Interesting.
It was legal.
Right.
It is legal. I go back to the other petition initiatives. And I tell them, I said, if we get the signatures, or I should say when we get the signatures, it's going up for a vote. If we get a favorable vote, the sales tax is gone. And there's nothing that they can do about it. Because this really is... And I used to be a cynic like that it's all under control. I'm telling you, it's really not. We have these outlets, the Citizens Petition Initiative, to get things done. And my feeling is you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I think that's a great thing to keep in mind. And also, yes.
Stephen.
Does Jeff ever get tired of being a voice in the wilderness?
What do you mean?
Are you referring to his radio advertisements?
No, I mean, Jeff, you are out there speaking out for liberty and free enterprise, and
now I'm speaking up for democracy, Stephen.
I'd like to see hundreds of people joining you.
Me too.
And I think we will see that. I think we're at the dawn of seeing that very thing.
People want to help volunteer or help gather signatures. Like I said, they can go to BrennanSmokeShopMA.com, download, print exact copies of the initiative. I use Staples. Sorry.
An official endorsement.
I you just email it to them and they print them up as many as you want, and they do it rapidly.
That's great. And one other.
And if you want to volunteer to help us, you can email me at stoptheking@yahoo.com.
Stop the King?
Stop the King.
Great. Oh.
Well, my cologne, I'm an old, that flag I hang in front of my house, it's a Betsy Ross,
That's great. I love it.
It's the only flag you can hang at night. without a light on it. My neighbor, like I said, the Vietnam veteran, I forgot to take my flag in one night, so I got a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. He goes, "That's an American flag too, isn't it?"
Yeah.
So I take that one, and I've got the Betsy Ross, and I'm like, gonna tell me to take this one in too. But it's
that one's okay
it's
with
America.
them.
No, seriously. I mean, they gotta understand.
Jeff, you're inspiring.
Thanks, Steve.
Very inspiring.
Thank you.
And one thing I want to make sure that we mention, but in case we run out of time, is Jeff, you were telling me earlier you're going to be at the Freedom Rally on the Boston Common.
Yes.
On, I believe that's September 26th.
If you live in Boston, come to the Freedom Rally next weekend, and we'll be out there trying to gather 65,000 signatures in one day.
Right, that's September 26th and 27th on the Common. So
come on down and see us.
Be sure to come on down. Another thing I want to mention is that Stephen Helfer and his associate Paul Neff are collecting signatures almost every day in Harvard Square. So if you happen to be in the area, you can stop by and also sign the ballot petition there.
Tell you a story about yesterday, because I mean, we have a few people out campaigning, getting getting the petitions, and one of them is my lobbyist, Sky Glotus, and he went into a place in Milton, a vape store. And the guy goes, "Are you from Brennan's Smoke Shop?
Oh, wow.
I've been waiting for these petitions."
That's great.
Oh, yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was very funny. It was funny.
I was actually going to ask you, had anyone already heard about it when you came in?
Yeah.
That's
it's
great.
all over now. We're really driving it, but
that's great.
I need help.
That's great. Yeah.
It's not going to get itself done. I need
Yeah.
you. I want you.
Yeah, that's right.
Uncle Jeff wants you. To repeal the sales tax on tobacco.
That's right. I want everyone to remember we need your help. So please go to the website, download the petition.
Let's do this.
Come to Harvard Square, come to the Freedom Rally, and believe that sign.
Again, the signatures are just to get the initiative on the ballot so that we can vote on it. The question is, do you think we should vote on it? Not whether or not you think there should be tobacco tax, but do you think that we should be able to vote on it? That's the main.
That's a great way to put it. So if you want to get the discussion out there, get it into the open.